What's everyone's take on Costco switching their rotisserie chicken baskets to these plastic bags? I mean, it's clearly a cost-cutting move, but visually it's a bit odd. The packaging says it's heat safe, but you can't help but wonder, is it really heat safe? It just feels a little strange to see a hot rotisserie chicken inside a plastic bag. I guess it's better for them to change the packaging rather than to raise the price, especially since Costco is known for keeping the rotisserie chicken at that famous $5 price point, but still, it's an adjustment for sure. Also, have you ever noticed how huge these Costco rotisserie chickens are compared to other grocery stores? They're literally the biggest chickens I've seen. I don't know if they're feeding these chickens some kind of special Costco superfood or what, but it's like they're twice the size of rotisserie chickens you can find anywhere else. Maybe that's part of, Costco's magic, bigger portions, same price. A surprisingly simple dish to meal prep is any marinated meat, and in this case, I'm making spicy pork bulgogi or 제육볶음. Honestly, the most labor-intensive part is just getting a big metal bowl and patting down the individual pork slices with a paper towel to remove any excess moisture. After that, you just throw it in whatever veggies you like onions, serrano peppers, and well, whatever you have on hand straight into the same bowl. For marinade, you'll need sugar, vinegar, soy sauce, ground ginger, minced garlic, sake, olive oil, both ground and fine Korean pepper flakes, black pepper, gochujang, and sesame oil. Once everything's in there, you just give it a good mix, cover the bowl with plastic wrap, and pop in the fridge to marinate. I have left mine in there for up to 3 days with no problems, and it actually gets more flavorful. When you're ready, just pull it out, fry it up, and it's amazing. The spicy caramelized onions combined with the tender, flavorful pork slices are absolutely delicious, super easy to make, and definitely worth a try. Every 2 months or so, I find myself giving spaghetti another shot. If you know, you know. This is hands down one of the worst instant ramens out there. By the way, don't drop this oil packet in. For some reason, I always forget. Unless you like microplastics in your broth. Anyways, the only reason it's somewhat popular is because it's one of the original instant ramens. But honestly, everything about it sucks. It's way too salty, the flavor is just one note, and overall, it's just really boring. But for some reason, every couple of months, a little voice in my head says, hey, why not give it another shot? It's ramen I haven't had in a while, so part of me thinks maybe it'll be worth revisiting. So I cook it up, and every single time, I'm disappointed again. Without adding something like a fried egg or some kimchi on the side, I just don't understand how anyone can enjoy this ramen on its own. It's bland, unbalanced, and definitely not worth the hype. But I guess in another 2 months, I'll probably try it again. So this is carbonara my way. I'm calling it my way because I'm still sticking to the basics of emulsifying fat with starchy pasta water and seasoning it with cheese, but I've added a little twist. I only make this carbonara about once every 6 months because it's so calorie dense and loaded with carbs, but honestly it's worth every bite. To start, I go for rich yolks, 2 per person, since this is definitely a treat. I grate some Parmesan cheese because that's the easiest to find around here, and grind some fresh black pepper. Then I add the controversial ingredient whole milk. I know purists, might disagree, but it really gives the sauce a nice creamy texture. Next, I fry up some bacon, which is always readily available here in the US. Once it's crispy, I add freshly ground black pepper and a bit of minced garlic to boost the flavor. From there, it's the usual process of, tossing the noodles, letting them soak up in the bacon fat, and then stirring in the Parmesan yolk mixture. What you get is an incredibly rich, creamy dish with the I had some lasagna sheets sitting on the shelf from 2023, and I thought, might as well use them. I mean, they're dried pasta noodles, what's the worst that could happen? Doesn't dried pasta last forever? So I figured I'll whip up some pasta and use the lasagna as the noodles. Nobody has time to make an actual lasagna anyways. Now, I know some of you in the comments have been hating on my sauce, but hear me out. It's basically Rayo's marinara sauce, just leveled up with mushrooms, onions, serrano peppers, and a good dose of dried chili flakes. I actually love adding those chili flakes because when you get a bite with one, it adds really an awesome kick of heat and it's pretty crunchy. So hate on my sauce all you want, but honestly, it's just Rayo's on steroids and I'm pretty proud of it. As for the pasta, surprisingly it turned out really good, despite the fact that it had been sitting around for so long. Looks like those old lasagna sheets still had some life in them. Every so often, I see comments saying that, burdak is just too spicy, and honestly, I feel that. When I first tried it, I was like, damn, how does anyone even eat this? It was seriously intense. But after a few more times, I've gotten used to it, probably because, I seared off all my taste buds in the process. One tip to handle the heat is to eat it with other things to really balance it out. For example, I like to pair it with kimbap and a fried egg on top. The yolk from the egg and the rice from the kimbap really help cut down the spiciness. You can also add slices of meat, fry up some dumplings, or even toss in some veggies if you want to make it a bit more nutritious. But yeah, as you keep trying it, you do get used to the heat. Honestly, the spice becomes pretty addictive, so that's why I probably tried it a couple more times after the first time. So if you're really struggling with burdak, try eating it with some extras. It makes a big difference. I saw my sister eating these pizza singles from Costco and she said they were pretty good, so I decided to try them out for myself. They come in 2 flavors, pepperoni and 3 cheese pizza. You can cook them in a variety of ways, oven, microwave, or air fryer. For these 2, I went with the air fryer since it's the easiest and I was hoping for a crispy crust. I don't see how a microwave could give you a crispy crust, so the air fryer seemed like the best option. While they're cooking, I grabbed some onions I got from Costco. Fun fact, these onions are back at Costco, you just need to ask them at the food stand. I also grabbed some Tabasco for a little extra kick. First, I tried a pepperoni pizza. It was actually pretty decent. It's like a mini deep dish, but without being super saucy like a traditional deep dish. The only downside was that the bottom didn't crisp up like I wanted, but maybe flipping it over halfway through cooking would fix that. As for the 3 cheese pizza, it was pretty good, but I've never been a huge fan of, plain cheese pizza. It's just too simple and too cheesy for my taste. Every time these ramen go on sale at Costco, I always pick them up. Not because they're super authentic, let's be real, a Korean company making a Japanese dish that traditionally takes hours to prepare all in instant form, how authentic can it really be? But I get them because, in my opinion, cup noodles just taste better than bagged ramen, if that makes sense. I'm 100% convinced that they put more seasoning in the cup ramen, making it a more intense version of the bagged kind. Sure, I could use less water in the bagged ramen to, try and get the same flavor concentration, but nailing that perfect water level is tough. With these cup noodles, there's a line inside to show you how much water to add, and the trick is to pour less than the indicated by looking from above the eye level. I think it's way easier to control that flavor that way and a more consistent ramen overall. So yeah, for me, cup ramen is just better than bagged versions. What do you guys think? While walking through H Mart, I noticed the Shin Ramen stir-fried noodles were on sale. I don't think I've ever tried these before, and if I did, they must have been pretty unmemorable. But yeah, let's give these a shot. One thing Shin Ramen fumbled the bag on was not getting a spicy stir-fry instant ramen on the market sooner. They probably didn't expect burdak to really cement itself as one of their biggest competitors, but oh well. The first thing I noticed was, that the noodles were thinner than usual. Actually, thinner than the, regular Shin Ramen noodles, which felt a bit off. Taste-wise, it was exactly like the regular Shin Ramen soup packet, but in stir-fry form. So it basically just tasted like spicy MSG. As for spice level, honestly, it wasn't very spicy at all. It was a little sweet, which I didn't expect from a product marketed as spicy. Overall, I would say this is a pretty low effort from Shin Ramen. It feels like they just transformed their soup into a stir-fry form without. One of my worst eating habits is the amount of instant ramen I consume. There's just something about it being so quick and convenient while also tasting super good that makes it perfect for lunch. But even with switching up, the brands or even flavors, instant ramen can be a bit boring. Most of them have similar spicy broths, and sure, the noodles might vary in thickness, but they can start to feel the same after a while. So to mix things up, I like to add condiments or extra ingredients. Sometimes I crack an egg into the broth, which really gives it a different flavor and texture. For this bowl, I'm adding some rice cakes and chopped green onions. What I love about rice cakes is that, they're usually frozen and they cook at the same time as these noodles. And if they're still a bit undercooked, you can eat the noodles first and let the rice cakes finish cooking in the broth. Another must-have for me is kimchi. It adds a crunchy texture and a nice acidity that cuts through the oiliness of the broth, making the whole dish more balanced and flavorful. It's a simple way to take instant